What's up, y'all? How you doing? This is your boy Gerald. It is the 25th of August, 2014. How are you? Hope your weekend was peaceful, blessed, and protected. I did a video earlier today, and I didn't expect that I would get a quick response, but I did. And so I'm going to put this video out because the person wanted me to explain or go a little in depth. So I'm not going to try to be winded, but I will put it out. And I'm going to put the original video out that I did earlier today. I was going to edit it, but I never edit my videos because everything comes from spirit and it comes out. So that's what it is. So I'm not. So the video that I did was entitled "The Top 10 Signs You Have Not Met the One." Why you have not met the one. So when I finish doing this one, I'm going to release the original after I posted this one up as well. And first and foremost, thank you for each and every person that, number one, you allow me into your life. Number two, what is conveyed from spirit to you, I hope that it makes your life better. It gives you clarity and validation where you may be in your life, because you deserve it. Okay, so got an email. See, you thought I wasn't going to respond, but I told you I was. So I'm going to do it. The email, you got to bear with me, I'm getting dressed. The person, I'm going to put some privacy there. In a nutshell, this young lady said that she wants to have Mr. Right in her life. And it seems that all she attracts are guys that just want Mr. Right now. Or basically they just want to sleep with her. They don't want to invest. And it's left her emotionally pretty low. And she feels that her self-worth has been compromised. So, my queen, and this goes out to you, my kings, because this applies to everybody. Hopefully you don't experience this. So I'm going to go into, I'll get to the point. I said, well, hurry up, Drew, just get to the point. Alright, so I'm going to go into it. Alright, in my top 10 sign, I explained why the one has not made their presence into your life yet, or why you tend to be attracted to the wrong type of people. Because you got to first understand this: we are spiritual beings first and foremost. That's why we have a spirit. That's why we have a conscience. That's why we discern. And I understand that you may not be in a place in your life where you embrace your discernment, but I'm here to tell you that that is truly you can obtain that the moment you make a dedication to yourself. You know how I always say it's about being authentic. So when you're authentic, you're real. Therefore, you can't be real unless you're honest with yourself. And I also understand that that may be a difficulty. That may be a fear that has been blocking not only your emotional progression, but possibly your material one as well. So, as I went down the list, and I highly recommend, if you have not seen the video, stop by. And I basically broke it down as this. See, from an environmental sense, society celebrates bad behavior. It despises individuality. When you demonstrate uniqueness, it is shunned. It is not uplifted. That is why we have so many people walking around that don't even know who they are, or I would like to call it as walking around with masks on, because you want to project an image for acceptance. So, with that being said, is it any surprise that you feel unfulfilled? Is it any surprise that your emotional state is where it is? Now, I'm saying this because I've been there. I'm the first one to convey that. I'm not going to come up off here and sound like I'm holier than thou and a hypocrite, because no. Because I had to go through my spiritual storm. And I'm going to tell you what, as hard as it was, I realized that the man that I'm destined to be, yeah, you know, Dr. Gerald Davis, psychologist, which will be live in effect in 2021. Yeah, I should, unless I grind a little harder, I might get it. That may happen soon. But it took me almost 25 years to even see my purpose. For example, if you're going through a cycle where there's been like endless jobs, and you're trying to find that one that makes you feel emotionally inside your heart of I'm home. You have a passion about it. You would even do it for free. That's part of the process. See, unless you've learned what you've needed to learn, connected to what you needed to connect within yourself, which I'm talking about is your emotions, until you've experienced, understood, and humbly respect what they represent, do you really think that your higher power is going to give you the things that you're not ready for? Think about it. Now, let's real talk. Now, let's be real. So, with that being said, you know how I always convey that the things that are found in your heart are the things that will be your reality? Do you see a pattern here? Do you see how events coincide based off of your psyche, your mind, your mental state? Think about it. My queens, how are you going to feel emotionally safe if you haven't grounded your feet first? No one can do that but you. You know, one of the biggest misconceptions, there's two actually, that we as human beings like to use to justify our choices, especially when it comes to relationships. How many times have you heard this one? To get over someone, you got to get under someone else. Have you heard that? Now, with that statement, where is personal accountability? Where is emotional healing? Unless you're a glutton Unless you're an emotional glutton for punishment, where's the accountability for your life? Do you not see? Do you not value your life? Do you not value? Come on now. Do you not value your body? Because you do realize there are people out here. You know how they say there are givers and there are takers. But if you have no boundaries, can you truly know the difference? You know how they proverbially say, beware of the sheep that wears, beware of the wolf that wears sheep's clothing? Because if not, you'll get devoured. See, it's all about your personal worth, y'all. My kings, if you want someone to respect you, it will not come to pass until you learn to respect yourself. See, I spoke this in the last video. You may be in a phase where you say, well, you know what, Gerald, I don't want to be in love. Every time I give my heart, I get it trampled on. I get exploited. I get used and abused. Now, let me tell you something. Number one, your life matters. Everything that you do has a reasoning behind it. That is why it is very important that you invest in yourself first. Here's the question I would like to ask each and every one of you. When you were born, when you took your first breath, did the doctor give you a stopwatch for your life? Did he? Because if not, what is the rush? Why do you choose to settle for the things you don't need, but embrace the things you want? Haven't you realized that every time you make a choice to pursue the things you want, it never turns out to be the things you need? So what happens? You waste your time, your money, your effort, and unfortunately, in some instances, your body, your intimacy. But guess what? The people that don't have your best interests will never tell you that. What they'll do is they'll continue to play a game with your heart. They'll continue to consume your time until you figure them out, and then the jig's up. Or, unfortunately, they have found someone else to start all over again. But I'm here to tell you about that one. If this sounds like you, and you are in a place where you are trying to pick up the pieces and put it back together, first thing I want you to do, take that resentment, take that hate, and lastly, take that self-denial out of your walk. I know you're saying, Joe, why would I want to do that when this person over here has disrespected me, has emotionally hurt me, and has possibly materially or physically used me? Why do I want to show compassion? Because I'm going to tell you why. Don't you realize that your higher power, what did he say? He said, vengeance is mine. Not yours, his. There's a reason for that. The reason for that is you are to take the experience to learn from it so that you don't repeat it. Now, in regards to those who think that bad behavior does not go without a recourse, let me give you a little sneak peek of what's to come. See, unfortunately, every action has a reaction. We agree, right? Well, guess what? The more that you embrace your arrogance, the more that you think that you may have gotten away with it like a thief in the night, when you least expect it, the lessons will be learned. That is why it's very important. And trust and believe when I tell you, my family, at the end of the day, the divine order shall come to pass. That's why I say this with compassion to you now. So if this is you right now, you're listening to this for the first time, I want you to do this. I want you to find a place within yourself to find comfort. Secondly, I want you to make that moment, this day, if it's now, to have that long-awaited conversation with Him. I know somebody may say, well, Gerald, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in higher power and all what you're saying. I said, okay. Okay. And hey, we have free will. Have you ever heard of the 12 universal laws? Go to YouTube. Go right up there. Type it in there. Take a gander. You don't think by chance the life you're living is the life that is intended for you, right? Do you? No, it's not. But until you take that ego and pride from your steps, until you take a place of humility, what will happen is you will stay in that season until you learn the lessons. And this is, my kings, and you listen, my queens, this is the main reasons why the men that come into your life don't appreciate you. They don't appreciate you because you don't appreciate yourself. So for those that may be saying, well, I don't want love. Every time I try to give my heart, I get it all stumped out. That's the problem. Until you make a decision, hopefully today, to love yourself. Love yourself. Because see, if you choose to love yourself, why are you putting a time limit on when your happiness begins and ends? Only decision you need to make is your environment matches who you are. Because we have free will, we project that outside your door. So if you're in an environment where you can't grow, you have to be honest with yourself to ask, why are you there? Think, what was the motivation, the motivational factors that led you to that point? And I guarantee you, when you do, you will have an epiphany. Some of you will have a revelation on what was the common denominator between the two. Some of you, and here's the tragedy in it all. Some of you want love so bad, but all you're getting is the physical act. But the irony about that is, you know deep down inside that's not who you are. But your environment only wants to look at you in one light. Well, that's okay. When you decide to go deep, one step at a time. You can turn everything around except for death. Because you know, as I said in the video before, you know what happens to people that don't change? They stay on the same path of not taking accountability or responsibility for their life. Two things. Number one, their reality, everything that's in their reality, they resent it. Because number one, it has no value. It was acquired. And number two, which is more tragic than them all, they end up a life alone. Or worse, they settle with somebody that they know deep down in their hearts they ain't supposed to be there. So don't do yourself a disservice. And I'm going to throw this out here too, because I don't want to get too winded. When I say invest in yourself, what I mean is this. Fall back in love with you. Unless you're going to kick the bucket tomorrow, make this moment about you. What I mean selflessly, not selfishly. Because selfishness out is selfishness in. That's why deceptive, living a life with deception. The same energy you put out, someone's going to deceive you. And it's going to hurt. So don't go out like that. Be the king and queen you really are. Make sure that person, y'all saw that infinity sign go by in the smoke? I know you did. Thank you, my angels. My point I'm trying to make is this. The person you are should match the little boy and little girl that's found in you. Yeah, you know that person that no one sees behind closed doors? That person? What are you being ashamed of? And guess what? The more and more you embrace that person, your environment will slowly but surely change. And because guess what? The people that don't want you to tap into who you really are, they're banking that you stay on that path. Because guess what? You know, kind of like, you know what locusts are? You know what moths are? Both of them don't come around unless they got something to devour. But guess what? They both don't invest in it. They don't bring nothing to the table. Don't be the person that they're eating off of. Don't do that. That's a tragedy. That's a tragedy. It is. So, my queen, for you that wrote the letter, this is what I suggest for you. If you don't have a relationship with your higher power, make this the day to do so. Find a place where you can feel emotionally safe, and whatever's on your heart, you give it to him. Ask him for assistance. Because it's written in the Bible, if you ask not, you get not. He ain't going to give you nothing you don't ask for, because that's a position of humility. You got to be humble. You have to. But if you constantly take a position, see, I always point up here because I've got my TV's on the wall. But if you constantly are looking at inspiration of what you see out in the media, maybe TV, in the magazines, what you see in the movies, what you find in your peer group, if there's no discernment in that, you can be easily influenced. Why do you think advertisers always target the young? Because they're naive, they're impressionable, and all they're doing is waiting to hook you and drag you along. Don't fall for that. So, once you've already made that connection and made that decision that you're going to have a relationship with your higher power, my higher power is my Lord Jesus Christ, you take that moment and you do some emotional, I don't want to say renovation, but you do some deep soul searching. Now, I'm going to throw this out here, and I know especially for my people, we don't like hearing this, but I'm going to tell you this anyway. If you have some emotional baggage going on, and you know you do, humble yourself to declare that you deserve to have a better life. And the things that you truly wish to have in your life, that you're willing to work for wholeheartedly. Number one, seek counseling. I personally think it's best to seek counseling from an unbiased source. So I know some people say, well, what about my family? Get an unbiased source. Because if you do that, guess what? They have nothing to gain from it. And it also it prevents manipulation and control. And plus, you don't know where your family members may be emotionally too, and you don't want them to give you a biased point of view. That's why, my queens, when I tell you, don't go to your single girlfriends for advice about relationships. They're not going to give you the answers you need, because how can someone give you advice on something and they're not living it? That's not biased. I mean, that's not legit, you know. And you don't want, and it's just not cool. If you don't want to go to, if you don't want to seek a counselor, seek a life coach. I'm a life coach. But find, and lastly, a spiritual advisor, maybe someone in your church, someone that's going to have your best interest, unbiasedly, first and foremost. Thirdly, whatever you're going through, you know the word, you know, affirmations. Affirmations are things that we speak into existence. If there's something that you're going through, and you're trying to channel those thoughts to make understanding or validation, highly recommend this too. Go get you a notebook. Go to the dollar store, wherever. Go get you a notebook and write down your thoughts. Doesn't matter if you're upset, doesn't matter if you're happy, but as long as it's honest, you write. Then you put it down. Wait a couple days. Then you go back to what you wrote and read what you wrote. You will find a lot of clarity from your emotions, because you do understand, when you act by emotion, it never turns out as you desire it to be. You will never get the outcome you want. I don't care if you were 100% right in your conviction. If you allow your emotions to get in front of your actions, you'll always be misled. You'll never receive what you need in the end. So don't do yourself that disservice. Please don't do that. Because at the end of the day, you are supposed to have the life intended. That's why you have the name you have. That is why. Fourth, take a hiatus from your environment. So your circle, cut them out for a while. If they really care about your best interest, guess what? It doesn't matter if you take 6 months to a year, 6 years, whatever. If they truly love you, guess what? They're going to be there. But they should also share the same sentiment as you. If they're turning around and you're trying to be courageous and making yourself a better person, and they're contradicting everything you do, they're talking you off that ledge of change, you got to look at them as what it is. They don't want you to grow, because misery loves company. Don't go out like that. Don't. And here's the big one. Now, you already know how the church speaks on it. And for those who are not in the church, allow your body to heal. If you're sexually active, which even though you're supposed to abstain, because you do know every time you give your body to somebody else, you give, their spirit is infused with yours. So guess what? Whatever karmatic stuff they had going on, you get to feel it, and vice versa. Real talk. That is why, and that is the true definition of being doped. That's why when you get in a relationship and it's only sexually based, you guys ain't got nothing else to talk about but in the bed. So how can you grow with someone when they're not growing? Only thing that's going to come out of that is you'll be really, really good physically being intimate, but you'll be depleted emotionally. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. Lastly, make a point to look at every challenge you've had, every disappointment. Be honest with yourself. Be honest. If you had an outcome that you did not like, take accountability for that outcome. Because guess what? Most outcomes, there's two people involved. Otherwise, that's manipulation. And that's control. So why do you want to be with someone that will never appreciate you? Why? That's not cool. They don't deserve you. And guess what? Unfortunately, there's so many people. I'll just say this. How many relationships have you seen where people were in relationships by circumstance, but you knew good and well they didn't love each other? They didn't love each other. It was just something to do. You deserved for the one to give you everything that you need through validation, because you complete yourself. My queens, if you have this mindset that your prince is going to come by and he's going to sweep you off of your responsibilities in life and take you away from your problems, guess what? You know what's going to happen? Yeah, he's going to come and sweep you off, but guess what? Them same problems that you just left, you just took them right over there, and worse. He may have some problems that you don't know about, and you just walked in a door that you should have never walked into. So don't do that. When you've learned what you needed to learn, which means you have to give yourself time to get to know who you are. Some of you don't even know who you are. You just only know aspects. And that's why you're walking around with anger. You got anger issues because you don't feel that people are listening. Anyone can hear, but are they listening to what's found in your heart? Some of you are dealing with abandonment issues. Some have issues that because of your parents, especially a lot of my queens. Listen, some of you have resentment because your dad's not there. Well, guess what? Is he breathing? Can you pick the phone up and call him? Or better yet, if you don't live with him, why don't you go to him and have that heart-to-heart? And guess what? I guarantee you a nickel to a dime. Not only will you have validation, it will lift a burden from your heart, but get this. You'll actually get to hear how he feels about something. Or guess what? You may see some of the traits that you possess, where they come from. Because you do realize, my queen, your intellect, your personality, the foundation is from your dad. If you didn't know that, yeah. So, I went longer than I wanted to. But I will say this. I know a lot of my queens are waiting for the one to come. And you have every right to desire that. But the cost for that is for you to be authentic. That means you got to be brutally honest with yourself. Because until you do that, guess what happens? That fear of uncertainty, the way you think, is standing in the way of who you are to become. So it's time to break those cycles, break those chains, start loving yourself. You deserve it. Listen, my queens, you are God's wildflowers. But it doesn't matter until you claim yourself first. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you have in your purse. It does not matter what you do in the bedroom, if that's where you at. Until you know who you are, it's just like being on a cruise ship and you got a big old hole on the side of the hull. All it's going to do is you're going to emotionally drown, and you don't deserve that. So I hope that this recap helped you, my queen, for sending the letter. And if you got any questions or concerns, you're going through something, or if you just want me to send a prayer out for you, I have no problem with that. I would love for you to, if you want to share it, go right ahead. I'm on Google+. I would love for you guys to be a part of that. And if you're not over here, hey, hit the subscribe button. But once again, I thank you for allowing me in your life. So as I always say, God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me to discern mine. My queens, don't worry. Once the work is all done and you're authentic and you claim who you really are, the one that is authentic, you will tap into a joy and freedom unlike any other. You'll know. And guess what? If the work is done, the one that you've waited for all along, in your spirit, watch him walk into your life and change your reality. Okay, guys, have a blessed week. Stay protected, stay blessed, and of course, stay you. Bye, y'all. Have a great week. Love to hear from you.